preschool system to be placed under a ministry, says the President. Voters undergoing self-quarantine to be allowed to exercise their franchise on the 31st of this month. Police and army protection to be provided at hospitals with COVID-19 patients. Draft circular issued to control COVID-19 during the election season contrary to law. PHIs should be entrusted with powers. A notice from the Attorney General.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to your weekend edition of Primetime News. In your top story tonight, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that the preschool system will be taken under the purview of a ministry and issues in the system will be resolved. According to the President's media division, the head of state made these remarks during a rally in Mathura today.
A communique issued by the President's media division stated that the President looked into the issues faced by the preschool system and said that plans have been made to provide preschool teachers with a monthly allowance. The President had highlighted the importance of providing a proper education on par with international standards during the early childhood period, which is considered as a very important time span for a child's development. The President began his tour of Mathura attending a rally organized opposite the Devundara Devalaya this morning. The President advised the officials to promptly look into the renovation of the Devundara Devalaya holy site while responding to an issue brought up at the meeting. Afterwards, the President attended a meeting held at the Mathura Beach Park. The President then attended a rally organized by Manoj Sirisena, a candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. The rally was held at the Uyan Vatta grounds. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who attended a meeting at the Hakmana Town Hall, spoke with the attendees. The President also attended a rally organized by Minister of Education, Dala Salaha Peruma, in Kumburupitiya.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's attention has been drawn towards the protection of antiquities and consolidating national heritage through amending the Antiquities Ordinance. According to the President's media division, the President has decided to appoint a committee comprising the Mahasangha and intellectuals to overlook the matter.
The fourth session of the President's Buddhist Advisory Council was held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. Archaeological conservation and development were discussed at length at the meeting. According to the President's media division, speaking at the council session, the President has said no room will be left for anyone to damage the historical heritage or archaeological value of any sacred place, and all such places will be considered as national heritage and will be protected. The President has also issued directives to the Department of Archaeology to respond to requests made by the Mahasangha to preserve antiquities and historical sites. The possibility of obtaining the services of the Civil Defence Force in the implementation of the program of conserving archaeological sites and antiquities had also been discussed. The attention of the President had also been drawn to the request made by the Mahasangha to transfer the cases relating to artifacts and historical sites in the northern and eastern province to courts in Colombo, and the President has instructed the Department of Archaeology to make swift responses to the requests made by Mahasangha to protect the archaeological and historical sites. The Mahasangha has also pointed out that the artifacts taken away during the colonial period were later found reposited at the British Museum and the National Museum of Denmark in Copenhagen. The Mahasangha suggested the president to initiate a process to reacquire the artifacts following consultations with UNESCO. The Mahasangha had also apprised the president that employees had been recruited disregarding due procedure, and as a result, the Central Cultural Fund had spent 7,000 million annually to pay salaries for these employees. Speaking at the meeting, Director General of the Department of Archaeology, Professor Senrat Disanayakas, had said, although there are 11 director posts at the Department of Archaeology, none of the positions have been filled. The President had notified to recruit university graduates annually to the Department of Archaeology.
One burning issue is that 98% of archaeological sites have been dug for treasure. We need to stop the spread of folklore, where people are led to believe there are mounds of gold stored beneath these archaeological sites.
Between
2000 and 2020, there have been 14 ministers in charge of the Ministry of Cultural Affairs. So, one minister has been in charge for around 1.5 years. There have been talks of the ordinance being amended since 2000. It is important for us to formulate an ordinance which preserves antiquities. If it is being amended, consultation of the Mahasangha is of utmost importance.
We have limited staff. That is a major hindrance. We have one officer for 2 divisional secretariats. Gramaniladaris have the best knowledge of the villages. We need to obtain the support of Gramaniladaris, the police and other officers to protect these sites under the guidance of the Mahasangha.
The demolition of the King's Assembly Hall has given rise to a major debate. This has been turned into a political matter. This is a lie. All buildings in Kurunagala were constructed under British rule. The building in which the tooth relic is kept was also constructed by the British.
I will present the recommendations provided regarding archaeological sites in the East to the task force. I believe the prominence which we gave to this matter as a government was insufficient. I will ensure the necessary allocations are made and manpower is provided in the future. The Department of Archaeology will draw up a plan in this regard. We are able to identify archaeological sites and preserve them. That can be done soon. I believe it is also important to amend the Antiquities Act. It is also important to establish a committee comprising the Mahasangha. One thing I noticed when I toured Kurunagala, there was an office of the Department of Archaeology amidst everything that was taking place at the Viharaya. The Department of Archaeology had not provided adequate protection. Most pharaohs who attempted to protect the Viharaya were also harmed. We will protect the archaeological sites in the north and east, especially since there are Triforces camps set up in those areas.
Meanwhile, it has been decided to obtain the necessary funds to renovate the demolished King's Court Assembly in Kurunagala. Secretary to the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Cultural and Religious Affairs, M.K. Bandula Harshchandra, said that the relevant letters for this renovation has been sent out to the Road Development Authority and the Kurunagala Municipal Council. However, the secretary said that the renovation activities of the demolished King's Court Assembly in Kurunagala has been halted considering the legal situation at present following the court order that was issued barring any person from entering the site. The ministry had instructed the Department of Archaeology to start the reconstruction of the archaeological site from yesterday. The Secretary to the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Cultural and Religious Affairs, M.K. Bandula Harishchandra, said that the renovation process has been halted at the moment due to the court order issued, will recommence immediately once the court proceedings regarding the incident is done with.
The entire population has to pay for an idiotic act of an uneducated person. These are our taxes. The responsibility should be taken up by the mayor, and if any minister spoke for this, they should be held responsible. They should reconstruct it with their money. Is it fair to use the money of the people of Kurunagala to renovate a building which was demolished by the mayor and his clan? We request the Prime Minister and the President to implement the recommendations put forward by the committee appointed to look into the destruction of the archaeological site. They recommended for the renovation cost to be charged from those responsible for the destruction. Instead of doing this, they are trying to renovate this using taxpayers' money. This is a serious crime. If an ordinary man did this, he would have been placed under remand custody. If Johnston Fernando is saying that he will not allow anyone to lay a finger on his man, authorities should confiscate his property to pay for the renovation of the archaeological site. We would like to say that if Johnston Fernando is trying to conceal this, authorities should confiscate his assets to pay for the renovation.
Several factions arrived at the location of the building which was demolished, which is said to be the assembly hall of King Bonakabahu II today as well.
During British rule, this was called the Mula Dani Madua. Mula Dani Madua is the court complex. If excavations are done, one can discover a tunnel which runs between the court complex and the palace. This unfortunate situation occurred because of ad hoc decisions. Firstly, the Director General of Archaeology should be brought before the law. It is because he did not fulfill his duties that this catastrophe occurred today. If a single person demolished this, it should be that person's money which is used to renovate it, not the people's money. We would like to remind that to our rulers. If need be, confiscate the properties of those who destroyed this and renovate it. Do not utilize tax money to do this.
The government has decided to hand over the responsibility of preserving archaeological sites to state officials on a local government level. Secretary to the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Cultural and Religious Affairs, M.K. Bandula Harishchandra, said the gazette pertaining to this decision will be issued by next week. Accordingly, district secretaries, divisional secretaries and village level statutory officers will be given delegated authority to preserve archaeological sites. The secretary said the relevant officers will be vested with the task of identifying archaeological sites on a village level and make necessary arrangements to preserve those sites. He also said the mutual agreement required to acquire the services of state officers will be obtained from the Ministry of State Administration. The government has also decided to allow the construction of temples and monasteries in lands which have been identified as archaeological sites. The secretary said the circular pertaining to the matter will be issued in due course. According to the Antiquities Amendment Act number 24 of 1998, any person who willfully destroys, injures, defaces or tampers with any antiquity or willfully damages any part of it shall be guilty of an offence under this ordinance and be liable to a fine not exceeding 50,000 rupees or imprisonment for a term not less than 2 years and not more than 5 years. The amended act added that any person charged with or accused of an offence under this ordinance shall not be released on bail. Now the government is trying to amend the Antiquities Ordinance. We feel very suspicious because after a murder is committed, you can apply for bail. But if an archaeological site is destroyed, bail cannot be granted. Destroying an archaeological site is considered a far worse crime than committing a murder. The laws required to protect them are already included in the ordinance. However, now there is a question of whether the reason the politicians are trying to amend the ordinance is to destroy these archaeological sites and mine for treasure. This government is trying to give the rights of these lands to district secretaries and deputy district secretaries and mine for treasure by amending the Archaeological Act. Also, we saw the manner in which the mayor of Kurunegala has been released on every charge after he demolished the King's Court Assembly. They are trying to amend the Archaeological Act to do things like this. We cannot let that happen. We have to protect our heritages. So we cannot let them bring laws and regulations according to their own whims and fancies. They are asking for the two-third majority to amend the constitution and rule the country as per the needs and wants of the Rajpaksas.
ව්‍යවස්ථා සංශෝධනයට ගිහිල්ලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුව අකර්මණ්‍ය කරලා රාජපක්ෂවරුන්ට ඕන විදියට රට පාලනය කරන්න තමයි හදන්නේ.
Meanwhile, views were expressed on breaking the law at a public rally held in Mathura today. We saw how the King's Court Assembly in Kurunegala was demolished at the brink of the election. Various views were made in this regard, but the Director General of the Department of Archaeology clearly stated that this is an archaeological site. The mayor who demolished the construction admits that he did so. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says it is wrong if he has done so. When the Prime Minister of the country says such a thing, Johnston Fernando says that he will not let anyone harm the mayor of Kurunegala. Where is the acting IGP? Where is the law of the country? Nothing is happening. The entire mechanism is stalled. This same crisis will address the parliament soon.
We're crossing over for a short commercial break. Stay tuned for more after these commercials.
So the Lakshman estate is where this incident happened, where this rare black leopard got caught in a snare and it died. So why we are going to Lakshman is to understand, first of all, how it happened, and most importantly, why it happened.
Snares are now a threat for leopards that we will really need to seriously consider.
It's obviously it's a nasty death. It can be a very nasty death because it can take a long time.
So we have limited stock and we can't attend everywhere.
Are you eligible to enter a university finance degree? Call Middlesex University on 07 1115 1234. It all starts with a desire for success.
Playing this weekend on Yes 101.
The Weekend Top 30 with Hollywood Hamilton. What's up? It's Hollywood Hamilton. You know what we do around here. It's the fastest moving countdown in America. Some of the biggest names in the industry in the studio.
Hi, I'm Ariana Grande.
This is Drake.
This is Lady Gaga.
Backstage with us and on the WT30 hotline. I'll catch you this weekend for the Weekend Top 30. The Weekend Top 30 with Hollywood Hamilton on Yes 101.
Welcome back to the news. The National Election Commission says mobile polling centres will be established from the 31st of this month for voters who are undergoing self-quarantine to exercise their franchise.
We decided during the party secretary's discussion to allow those in quarantine centres to vote on the 31st, whereas those who are undergoing self-quarantine will be allowed to vote on the 4th. Later, we realized it was impractical for us to carry out voting on the 4th, since that is the day we will be distributing ballot boxes to polling centres. For now, it has been recommended to allow those undergoing self-quarantine to vote on the 31st. If there is anyone undergoing self-quarantine in their homes, they can vote on the 31st. We will deploy mobile units to carry out that task. Representatives of political parties can also be assigned to these mobile polling centres.
ජංගම ඡන්ද මධ්‍යස්ථාන නිරීක්ෂණය සඳහා නියෝජිත වන්න පුළුවන් දේශපාලන පක්ෂවල
යම්කිසි පිරිසක් හෝ කණ්ඩායමක් මේ හිතන්න පුළුවන් මේ දැන් හෝම් ක්වොරන්ටයින් කරන තැන්වල ඡන්දක්කදිතා කරන්න පුළුවන් කමක් වෙයි කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ මේකේ සෞඛ්‍ය නිර්දේශ අනුකූලවනේ කරන්නේ. ඒකින්ද යම්කිසි ක්‍රමවේදයක් හදලා තියෙනවා මේක කාටවත් පොර ඡන්ද දාන්නත් තියෙනවා. කොහොමද කාට
How can that happen? Representatives of political parties can be present. However, no media coverage will be allowed.
දායකයෝ කියන ඒවා ඡායාරූප ගන්නවත් තොරතුරු ප්‍රසිද්ධ කරන්නවත් තහනම්.
වෙන වර්ෂවල කරති නීතිමයි මේ වර්ෂයේදී ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ කියන්නේ පොලිසියට ලබා දෙන
පොලිසිය
The police will be in charge. I cannot say for certain it will be similar to previous years because there are 3 of us. We have to hold discussions and issue directives. We will decide together where to shoot. You need to count to 10 before shooting. If there is a threat to life, it should be done. Anyone who attempts to steal a ballot box will be warned first. We will not shoot immediately. The Technical Committee to Eradicate COVID-19 convened at the National Election Commission today. Member of the Technical Committee and Colombo District Chairman of the PHI Union, Dr. Vajra Dasanayake expressed the following views to the media. The PHI Union has launched a trade union action as of now. But the PHI Union has promised the Chairman of the National Election Commission that they will give their fullest support in the election affairs. No one has withdrawn from engaging in election activities, but there is an ongoing problem in terms of authority and regulations of the Ministry of Health and the PHI Union. We think that the matter will be resolved in the coming week. The chairman, the secretary and the treasurer of the PHI Union have certified that no activity that will hinder the election process will take place from their end. Meanwhile, a silent protest was held in Chilao town in support of the trade union action launched by the PHIs. The trade union action was launched by the PHI union, citing that the gazette issued to implement the quarantine regulations is unfair on them. We request from Pavitra Vaniarachi to direct the attention of the President and the Prime Minister to grant the necessary provision to the PHIs in the country. We humbly request that strict attention should be drawn to grant these people the necessary provisions to carry out their duties. News First tried to contact the Minister of Health, Pavitra Vaniarachi, with regard to the ongoing trade union action launched by the PHI Union. However, our attempts proved futile. What was the Attorney General's opinion?
Party leaders. Political update.
In the run-up to the in the run-up to the general election, the political arena is heating by the day. Various party leaders spoke at various public rallies held across the country. This is your party leaders update for today.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has pointed out that steps will be taken to provide houses to the people living in estates in the hill country who has their names in the ballot papers. He expressed the following views at a public meeting held in Haputale. We would like to remind you that we will hold discussions with tea estate owners to give you the 1,000 rupees. We are gearing up to provide jobs to unemployed youth by establishing private factories in the area. I have to speak about people living in estates as well. Only the people who worked in estates were given houses. We will increase the number of houses and take steps to provide houses for everyone who has their name in the ballot paper. We expect to introduce latest technology to the tea industry. We are ready to promote Ceylon tea in the world and revitalize the plantation sector in the country. Leader of the Samagi Jana Balawega expressed views regarding electricity bills. He made these remarks at a public rally held in Deltota, Hewahata yesterday. The economy of our country has completely gone down. Today our business communities are completely helpless. I would like to remind you that we will take decisions that need to be taken on behalf of the people, and we will make this nation a self-sufficient country. Didn't a minister from the district make a statement in a television program stating that electricity bill for March and April be cancelled? Did they cancel it? I would like to ask, was the electricity bill slashed? No. Hasn't a new water bill arrived? That includes the bill of March and April. The government has completely made the people helpless after adding the bill of May and June. I would like to state that once our government comes into power, the money you paid for the bills of March and April will be given back to those who paid it. The government said that it will be given at a concessionary interest rate of 4%. Did they give it? Is there one person? No one. They always lie. They always cheat. Once I establish a government as the Prime Minister appointed by the people, I will come back to the Hewahata electoral district.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena reiterated that he did not succumb to foreign agreements that are harmful to the country. He expressed these views at a public rally in Onagama Thune Ella in Polonnaruwa. The two teams of the UNP cannot gain power at the election. Those two factions can't run a government. People from both teams know me very well. They all were in the government with me. As the president, it was I who saved the country when they were trying to ruin it. Ranil Wickremesinghe thought that since I was the common candidate and since I was from Polonnaruwa, he could get me to do anything. I would never do that. You saw how I fired him and appointed Mahinda Rajapaksa. He played around with the central bank. The reason the UNP leaders are quarrelling with me is because I appointed the Presidential Commission on the central bank bond scam. They would not have had a problem with me had I not appointed that committee. So I would like to remind the honorable UNPers here that the democracy of the country was saved. Media freedom was ensured. I could have done more if I had a good Prime Minister and a parliament that is suitable for my policies. I would like to remind you that I was the only president that ruled the country without a Prime Minister, cabinet or a parliament. Because the Singapore deal was cancelled. During the last days, the American ambassador came for me to sign the deals. I said as long as I am president, that will not happen. I told the ambassador to her face that I represent the country. American assistant secretaries of state arrived from America to meet me. I told them the same thing. I would like to state very clearly that I was an honest leader who worked for the nation.
විශේෂයෙන්ම අවංකව රට වෙනුවෙන් වැඩ කරපු නායකයෙක් කියන එක මම තමුන්නාන්සලට කියන්නට ඕනේ.
The leader of the National People's Power expressed his views regarding the public health safety at a public meeting held in Kadawatha today.
මත්කුඩු වැඩි වෙලා නම්, ස්ත්‍රී දූෂණ වැඩි වෙලා නම්, අපර මංකොලකම් වැඩි වෙලා නම්, වාහන අනතුරු වැඩි වෙලා නම් කාටද තියෙන ආරක්ෂාව?
Who is safe in this society if the drug menace, sexual abuse cases, criminal cases and accidents have increased? In our society there is no one who is safe. We should ensure a society that every citizen is safe. Only we can do this. Any cause for a controversial issue is determined within a day or two, is it not? The reason behind the Angulana and Hokandra murder cases were identified in 2 days, but there are cases with no answers as of yet. Tajuddin's murder is not resolved yet. Murder of Lasanta is not resolved. They were unable to identify who attacked Port Dalajantha. We still haven't figured out who is trafficking drugs. Why is that? It was because all these were done by the government. If there are any unresolved murder cases in this country, it is because it was either done by the government or under the protection of the government. The murderer of Kadiragamar was identified, although he was not arrested. The place where he bought the bag, the place where he came from, and the route were all identified. We have a talented police department. They have a good sense. But what has really happened? There is no conducive environment for them to perform their job freely. If this continues, we will not be able to create a just society.
සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙන මොකද? ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ වෘත්තීය ගරුත්වය ආරක්ෂා කරන රාජකාරියක් කරන්න පුළුවන් දේශපාලන අපේ රටේ නේ.
Former parliamentarian Navin Disanayake expressed his views about the dreams and aspirations of new leadership in the party at a public meeting held in the Nuwara town hall under the patronage of UNP party leader Ranil Wickremesinghe.
This is the only party that elects its leader in a secret ballot. Do not forget that a secret vote took place in 1976. Premadasa with 118 votes, Gamini with 110 votes and Lalit with 93 votes. That is how J.R. Jayawardena formed his future cabinet. That is how he identified his future leaders. There was another secret ballot in 1994 for Ranil and Gamini. Gamini got the majority of the votes. The third secret ballot was held in 2011 to elect the leader of the party. Karu Jayasuriya challenged Ranil Wickremesinghe. You must remember that Ranil got 60 odd votes and Karu got only 20 odd votes. But Sajit Premadasa became the deputy leader of the party at this secret ballot. Not a single party has had a democracy like this. Therefore, we in the UNP has to protect that democratic right. Just as the party leader has dreams, we too have dreams. We have to make our dreams come true before we are at 60. My ambition is to embark on this journey with you. But after you, I too wish to become the leader of the party. For that, I do not need your support. You can remain neutral and independent in that clash. I wish to come to that position with the support of the people.
COVID-19 is being spread everywhere. The current government has failed to contain it and carry out the necessary tests. I supported this government when they imposed curfew. I said I want to strike a deal. I wanted to strike a deal in terms of the health of the people, but we urged them to carry out testing. They failed to do so. Today, I and all medical associations say that at least 5,000 tests have to be carried out daily. Otherwise, you cannot stop the spread. But the government doesn't do this. They are afraid to speak about COVID-19 because if they postpone the election because of COVID-19, they would lose the election. They think that the election should be held even over dead bodies. The second thing is the economy. It has downgraded immensely with no solution. The domestic economy is stalled. People do not have money. How can this government resolve this issue?
Meanwhile, leader of the United National Party Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed the following views regarding the future leadership of the party in the run-up to the presidential election last year. The party needs a new face and new leadership. By 2025, we should be strong. There is no need to wait until 2025 to do that. We must prepare for that. I have also said that I don't need to be in this position for long, and I also don't want to.
With the 2020 general election around the corner, masses have begun interacting with political representatives at various public gatherings.
A group who attended a Sri Lanka Pudujana Pyramid meeting in Atampitiya, Badulle yesterday behaved in an unruly manner. The meeting was attended by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, VJM Lokubandara, Udit Lokubandara, Dilan Pereira, Nimal Siripala de Silva and other political representatives. A tense situation occurred while VJM Lokubandara was delivering a speech prior to the arrival of the Prime Minister.
In 1818, Lokubanda, Sudubanda, Ranbanda, Kiribanda, all of them band together to battle. Uwavellasa was a war zone.
ඉන්ද්‍රමන්නේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්න කැමති අපේ පුතාට ඔය විදිහේ කටහැකර මොකා කතා කළත් ඒ අපි එක දෙයක් කියන්නම් ඒ අප්පම් පුතා ඔයාගේ නාරි හූ කියනවා නාරියෝ හූ කියනවා පර නාරි රැර මේ උතුම් ඡන්දදායකෝ සලබෝනන්න ඡන්දදායකෝ මේ අම්මලා තාත්තලා ඔය තැනින්ද හැකර කටවල් දිගෑරියට දන්නවා වා යටින් ඉඳගෙන කරන උගුල්
In an age where politicians promise people of express development, there are still villages that remain isolated from the rest of the country with no roads or a proper supply of electricity. The people in these villages travel 10 to 15 miles on foot. This is the dark story of the Kalukale village in Mahyanganaya.
A beautiful village to any outsider, the Kalukale village is located in Vidimali at the Mahyanganaya. The life of the people here, however, is anything but beautiful. This is what passes off for a road in this area. People here who grow tea, vegetables and fruits are forced to carry their produce to the market on their shoulders. The only alternative is to rent a three-wheeler. Electricity is a luxury not afforded to these people.
For as long as we can remember, we have not had electricity or a road.
The years engraved on the stone shows for how long they haven't even looked at these roads. It's been about 20 to 30 years now.
75 families that call this village their home have been left to fend for themselves in the dark. The adults here only hope and pray for a brighter future for their children. Children here wake up at dawn to leave for school. They only return home at dusk.
When these children come home, it's very dark. They study under the light of the lamp at that time. Sometimes, since there are 2 to 3 children in a single house, they all cannot study as there is only one lamp.
Children in Kalukele are now accustomed to this way of life in the dark.
The children have to walk 15 kilometers every day. How can they study? We only want electricity and a proper road.
We can see residents of the village adjacent to ours using electricity and living well, but we have never experienced that.
This file full of letters is privy to the number of attempts made by these villagers to get the supply of electricity to their village. When will these people's lives be brought out of this dark abyss and into the light?
These are letters that we received from the state institutions regarding the supply of electricity.
It has been revealed that the information divulged by the COVID-19 patient who escaped the IDH and was later located are false. Media spokesperson of police SSP Jali Senaratne spoke regarding the matter at a media briefing held today.
We interrogated the individual. Through other sources, we were able to ascertain that the information he provided was false. Therefore, we intend to interrogate him yet again based on the advice of health authorities. We have uncovered that he had travelled on a different path than the one which he revealed to us. So far, we have not received information that would indicate that there is a threat of the virus being transmitted. However, since the investigation has not concluded, we cannot make any more statements. It is reported that he stole a bike from a house and that he changed his clothes as well. Health authorities observed the locations he travelled through and have concluded that there is no threat. For now, protection is provided through officers assigned through private security firms. The assistance of the police and the army will be provided to those hospitals.
Former Cabinet Minister and founder of the Pathfinder Foundation, Milinda Moragoda, says the country requires a strong executive presidency to navigate the post-COVID-19 world.
While commending the strong executive decision-making during the early stages of the pandemic through which many lives were saved, Milinda Moragoda spoke of the need for Sri Lanka to be fast and agile in order to face the economic, social and international challenges in the post-COVID environment. He adds, disappointingly, no major political party has yet put forward a coherent governance and governing structure for the nation in their policy platforms. Milinda Moragoda also notes a dysfunctional relationship now exists between the executive and legislature as a result of the 19th Amendment. Taking into account the lack of coherent or credible proposals put forth by major political parties thus far, Milinda Moragoda proposes all thoughtful Sri Lankans to consider the establishment of a strong executive presidency that can act decisively and yet be ultimately accountable to Parliament. He also stressed the importance of an independent legislator that will promulgate legislation and act as a responsible check and balance to executive excess. In conclusion, Moragoda notes, Sri Lanka cannot afford to have a crippled government, especially at this critical juncture where a large number of lives and livelihoods are at stake.
We're crossing over for a short commercial break. Stay tuned for more.
Lakshapana estate is where this incident happened, where this rare black leopard got caught in a snare and it died. So why we are going to Lakshapana is to understand, first of all, how it happened, and most importantly, why it happened.
Snares are now a threat for leopards that we will really need to seriously consider.
It's obviously it's a nasty death. It can be a very nasty death because it can take a long time.
So we have limited stock and we can't attend everywhere.
In local news, The Presidential Commission probing the April 21st attacks today ordered for the mother of Sarah Jasmine to be placed under witness protection. Sarah Jasmine is a wanted suspect in connection to the attacks. Sarah's mother said that Zaharan Hashim's wife is well aware of what happened to Sarah and her whereabouts. She also added that Sarah was abducted on a number of occasions by Abdul Razik, the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Tawhid Jamaat, and also, although she complained to the police and the Human Rights Commissions repeatedly, no action was taken.
Sarah's mother said that in 2015, her daughter, Sarah, went to Kalmune to attend tuition class and that on the 29th of July in 2015, she was informed that Sarah was missing. Sarah's mother was working in Abu Dhabi at the time. A missing persons report was filed with the police. On the same day, the General Secretary of Sri Lanka Tawhid Jamaat, Abdul Razik, had called Sarah's uncle, informing him that Sarah was in their custody and that she would be sent back in about a week. Sarah's mother promptly returns from Abu Dhabi and goes to the Maligawata police, where Abdul Razik returns Sarah to her mother. Subsequently, Abdul Razik again had taken Sarah away from her mother. Sarah's family members had gone to the police the very next day after she was taken and found out that Razik had married off Sarah to Hastun, the suicide bomber at the Katuapitiya church. However, she said that they did not show her any evidence that the marriage had taken place. The Maligawata police was informed of this, but they said that there was nothing to do because Sarah and Hastun were over 18 years of age. Sarah had on the 6th of January 2016 returned to her mother as Sarah claimed that she could not live with her husband Hastun. Meanwhile, Hastun had lodged a complaint with the Katankudi police station stating that Sarah's mother had kept his wife forcibly. Members of the Presidential Commission paid special attention on the facts that Hastun had lodged the complaint with the Katankudi police despite Sarah being a resident of the Kalavanchikudi police. The witness further said that after some time she came to know that Zaharan's wife had taken her daughter to a house in Naramala. The last time Sarah's mother spoke to Sarah on the phone was at 12:30 a.m. on the 19th of February in 2019. Sarah has been missing ever since. Sarah's mother had then lodged complaints at a number of police stations, and since they did not accept her complaints, she had gone to the Batiklu branch of the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka. The Batiklu branch of the Human Rights Commission had also declined to accept her complaint. The Presidential Commission inquired whether she had seen Sarah after September 2019. She said that if she knew of her whereabouts or any other information, she would definitely have informed the security forces. Sarah's mother also pointed out the Commission that there are threats against her. The Commission, therefore, has placed her under witness protection. Action has not been taken against General Secretary of Sri Lanka Tawhid Jamaat, Abdul Razik, who has been involved in this incident yet.
In more local news, the Joint Election Emergencies Operation Unit is to be reactivated and tasked with responsibilities of coordinating essential services and authorized organizations in election emergencies.
The recently published Right to Vote Amidst Disasters Guideline and Operational Plan for the 2020 General Election, prepared by the National Elections Commission and Disaster Management Centre along with the Asia Pacific Alliance for Disaster Management Sri Lanka, notes the Joint Election Emergencies Operation Unit will be operational for 24 hours from the 3rd to the 8th of August 2020. Essential composition of the JEEOPS will be representatives of the ECOSL, DMC, Health, Triforces, police, assigned ministries and technical organizations. It goes on to note district election emergencies coordinating officers will function in all 25 administrative districts headed by the respective district secretary with representatives from the Elections Commission and DMC. The main objective of the guidelines and operational plan is to ensure that there are no disruptions to vote by the public due to disasters and to negate impediments for election officials in administrating their duties.
And that's the wrap of Primetime News for tonight. On behalf of the Newsfirst team, I'm Zeenat Musafir. and tonight's news interpreter was Tharika Gabriel. Thank you very much for watching News First. Good night and take care.